Hi guys, thank you so much for joining us. So sorry we're late. We had technical difficulties with Zoom, but we're here now. So I'm super excited to introduce you to Hannah of HK Hair. Hannah's been a stylist for over 9 years, and so she's going to share her expertise on getting that headshot ready hair. So we're going to get started, and with no delay, I'm just going to put Hannah in the main view. And Hannah, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Wani. And I just thank you so much, everybody. Now, I just want to raise the fact that I'm sat on my living room floor. I obviously can't do this in my salon at the moment. I've got 3 children under 6, so it's noisy everywhere else in my house. So I don't usually do hairdressing in this setting. I'm going to go through with 5 top tips for headshot ready hair. Don't worry, the last one is how to manage this in lockdown. So all the tips I'm gonna cover, but my 5th one is how do we manage all these things during lockdown, because if you're like me, I was 6 weeks overdue for a haircut before lockdown, so I'm now 11 weeks well in, and my roots are the same, so please don't worry. I think I'm going to follow on really having watched Jane and Nicolette this week already, which I've picked up some amazing tips already. Personally, my first tip is to be natural. So to look like you in whatever way that is. That doesn't mean that you don't wear any makeup or you don't do your hair. It's how you look normally day to day. So whatever you're using your headshot for, typically somebody will see the headshot before they see you, and you need to be recognizable. So that said, you still want to be the best version of yourself visually. That's for obviously because your headshot is an advertisement or a prerequisite of what you look like, but also it's kind of like taking your passport picture. You're kind of stuck with it for a while. If you get a really great, if you've either invested time, money, resources in getting your headshot, it's one that you might be stuck with for quite some time, and that becomes part of your brand. So it's something that you need to be recognizable with that. So that what I mean by that is, if you usually wear your hair curly, don't have it professionally straightened just before you have your headshot. Myself, I have really curly hair normally, and those that see me with curly hair is really curly hair. Now, I sometimes have pictures of myself taken with like a really bouncy blow dry, but I also have it straight, because those people that then see me, obviously that's another advert for my services, because I'm a hairdresser, and I'm capable of doing this to my hair with ease. It doesn't take me long. I just know the tricks that I share with my clients. So that's a good thing. So try and stay as natural as you can to your normal self. It may be that you have vibrant hair that you have to top up the color each week, or you have you always wear bright lipstick and things like that. And it's exactly the same thoughts with your hair. If you always have your hair in a particular style, even try and repeat that, but that better version of it as much as you're able to. My second point is to make sure that it's reflective of your brand, your trade or your profession. So like I was saying before, and with my own hair, my hair's got to be on point for a headshot, because I'm a hairdresser, and I always think like when I go to work events, whether I'm just in the salon, if I turn up at a networking event, my hair needs to be on point, because if I can't do and it is hard, I do find it much harder to do my own hair than what I do other people's, but if I appear that I don't manage my own hair, then I'm not a very good advert for what I do professionally. And I've coloured my hair for the last 9 years because of that reason. I've only just started to get grey, but I've needed to colour it for a while, because otherwise what kind of advert? And I think that's the same in any other profession. So particularly if you are not necessarily hairdressing, but if you're beauty or medical based, then I would be looking to have your hair tied up in your headshot. And there are ways to still create volume, but to have it so you appear maintained. So particularly in a clinical role. So for me, I would have my hair, perhaps like this. I've got the other image that Wani's been circulating, which was in my garden last week. I've got my hair curly, full of volume, vibrant. I have to be energetic with my job, and I'm trying to put that with my hair. So it's very much reflective of the brand. But as I say, with other professions and trades, then, and if you've got particularly more of a clinical role, it would be looking for how would you appear in work. Now, if I was a beauty therapist, I wouldn't have my hair like this in work. I would have my hair tied up. Lots of beauty therapists would have it in a donut, and then hair away from my face, and then you've automatically got the trust of your knowledge before anyone's even met you. Coming on then to my third point, is I feel like your hair should frame your face. So Jane and Nicolette both talked about last 2 days about your eyes being the main feature of really to gain connection in a headshot with the person that is looking at the picture. And that's exactly the same when you talk about with the hair. Now, I can have a full fringe. So as an example, I've deliberately done my hair like this so you can see. I can have a full fringe, and I can blow dry it and have a full fringe. And I could have my hair big and curly, but I immediately, all you see is hair. And I don't connect with, I wouldn't connect with you as an audience, because I'd also spend the whole time doing this. But I also, visually, you wouldn't connect with me because you wouldn't be able to see my eyes very clearly. And in framing my face as well, let's say my hair is well overgrown, but I do have some layering around my face. So I've deliberately blow dried this in. Now, as soon as I came on camera, I immediately thought I'm wearing the wrong colour top, because my hair is so dark. My hair is so dark, and in this lighting, and having watched the two previous things, I have a light grey HK Hair t-shirt, which I should have been wearing, so you could have then seen my hair and the shiniest of my hair much better. So that is definitely, Jane touched on that with hair colour on Monday, but definitely it's not just a standalone. Your hair needs to be completely incorporated in the rest of your overall look. So framing my face, and had I looked at myself in the camera, and we talked about checking. Nicolette also talked about checking pictures afterwards. I actually, rather than blow drying it, I probably would have been better to do something like that, and that completely changes the look of my overall picture. So definitely emphasize the eyes, however that is possible. So point number 4, hair shape and color. So your overall shape that you want to appear, now depending on which way you pose, and Wani, I know we'll talk about this on Friday, is because I'm one for it, that I need to take a million pictures, and I'll have one that my head's in the right direction, where I don't look like I've had 3 children, and and all those kinds of things that we don't like the pictures of ourselves. But from a hairdressing point of view, it's to maintain balance. So the only thing that isn't balanced with my hair is that my fringe is currently to one side. But what I will say is, because that's to one side, I deliberately, this side of my hair will look fuller. And then I've got a bit of balance going on, and it doesn't look crooked. So if you had to tie your hair up, that's exactly the same thought. So a headshot with a side, unless it's bridal hair, which is a whole other different ball game, to have a side bun, I wouldn't advise doing anything like this. I'm just going to quickly put it, anything like that in a headshot, because if someone doesn't look at it for any length of time, it doesn't look professional. It looks like you've just stuck your hair to the side of the bun, however long you've spent on your hair. So it could be neatly tied up behind, but also when you're if there's lots of tips and tricks about how to create volume. So a really great one is to put some hairspray on at the point of your roots. So, and the purpose of this is to create some volume, but again, so you're symmetrical, and that you're all balanced. So a great way of doing that is by just lifting your hair. And I've got a hairspray that I use in salon, which is Me, Mystify Me. That's on my website, HK Hair. And then that immediately has given me some height, but I'm still symmetrical. And then that has actually, from my third point of framing my face, that's actually highlighted my face even more. I hope that makes sense. So, you know, root volume is a must. I think, obviously not to the point when we're talking about beehives and looking dated, but just a little bit of volume. And in normal circumstances, you know, and I've sort of mentioned, I've said colour, but in normal circumstances, and we weren't in lockdown, if you weren't confident doing your own hair, I'd be suggesting having a professional blow dry the day of your headshot, and then with your colour and cut, really having that done a week before. Some people like their cut a couple of weeks before if they've got a fringe they like grown in a bit, but certainly your colour sort of freshened up the week before. So it's had a good bit of time. To those that have regular colours will know it gives it, you got a good couple of washes in to settle in that colour, but you've still got the shine and lustre of your natural colour, of your maybe artificial colour, but you've still got that still in. It's not faded in any way. The other thing to sort of talk about really is the actual colour of your hair. So lots of colours photograph differently. You know, the other ladies have talked about in terms of colour and clothing and makeup, and hair is absolutely no different. So my hair, although it's darker, most browner tones can sometimes not appear very shiny. Now I have a mahogany undertone in my hair, so I'm very fortunate that because it's that bit warmer, I have it purely because otherwise my hair looks dry, and so it reflects the light much better. I can see it in my camera. I hope that shows it in yours. So I've always got that shine. So even if my hair is dry as it is, say we're now 11 weeks, I'm 11 weeks past where my haircut should have been done. I've still got that shine, and that is the most important thing, because it will look like your ends have been trimmed. And a real good way of doing that is a hair serum or a hair oil, and to smooth that through the ends, or even a shine spray you can purchase. And another thing is I have lots of these little flyaway bits, so it's particularly important with like wedding hair, but also photo headshots, and lots of photographers are able to sort of smudge those out afterwards, and obviously we're not in that situation at the moment, and I know Wani doesn't edit anyway. But a really great way of getting rid of that. Say I've got young family, I've got still baby hairs coming through. Those women that have had children will know what I'm talking about. An easy way of doing that is a light hairspray on the hands, literally. So just a little bit damp, and then literally use your fingers to just smooth. And I'm hoping you can see me. And then just smooth that through. And if your hair was tied up, just use your hands to smooth it back. You then won't get any comb lines or brush lines or anything in your hair, but hoping you can see that that's immediately smoothed that down. It just looks a little bit more finished and polished compared to having all sorts of crazy ends going in as well. So my last point, lockdown hair. How the hell are we going to do this with, you know, if you're going to be at least 5 weeks since you've seen a hairdresser, if not a lot longer. So tricks, if your hair is longer, say my layers, you know, my shortest point is usually up here, I'm not going to lie. The easiest way, certainly if you've got longer hair, is to add a bit of curl to it. And what I don't mean, you know, big rollers or anything, either just use a tong or a curling iron to just add a little bit of curl to the end, so you've got a little bit of width going on, a bit of body, and that will beautifully disguise all of these ends. So I've used just a big round brush like this. So my fringe, so I cut my fringe for a tutorial. So if you have a look on my Facebook page, I've got some to help you this week, some live tutorials. But I cut my own fringe, but I've actually used a really big round brush, and then that will then immediately give me a bit of bounce and volume. And then exactly the same with the sides. Just add a little bit of movement to it, and that will automatically hide some of all of those ends that should have been cut weeks ago. If your hair is shorter, then it might be a styling choice. So if you've usually got right short into the neck and suddenly your hair's grown behind your ear, you know, over your ears, it might be to either tuck it behind your ears. And remember that the headshot is predominantly going to be face on. So it needs to be that you're going to hide with some curvy grip, some hair that's sticking out behind there, then all but do it. It's not going to interfere. It's not that, you're going to a wedding or going to an event and it needs to be okay. It needs to be suitable full 360. So even like that, if I was to, these ends are all out the way, then I could quite happily tuck that out, and hide it underneath. So styling, that might be that you need to create some bigger volume and just, make it look like you've spent a bit more time blow drying it. Please message me, anyone that needs any help with that. I'm absolutely contactable to offer any advice, because there'll be some easy and quick tips that I'll be able to share with you that will make your life much easier. Lots of people will be well out of date with their root colours as well. Now, my clients, I've talked quite a lot to my clients about trying to avoid just picking up something from the supermarket to cover your roots with if you usually have a professional colour, purely because it won't be matched in the same way in terms of colour, and it might create some lines. The best thing to do for now would either be, if you're one of my clients, come back to me and ask me about semi-permanent colour. Speak to your own hairstylist to ask for some advice in terms of semi-permanent colour that we can suggest to you to use safely at home. But the other option is there are some fantastic products on the market that are almost like a mascara wand, but you can then colour match your roots. So some of them are wet and you blow dry in, some of them are a dry powder, some dry shampoos you can even buy tinted. So that really just to mask it for now, and particularly, so your colour looks fresh for a headshot. That would be certainly my suggestion of the way to go. And the other thing that I was going to focus on, with colour of hair. So I talked about my brunette hair. Some blondes, golden blondes, reflect the light really, really well. However, as soon as the blondes get a little bit more ash tone, a cooler tone, they absorb the light. So any on-trend, real grey, silver blonde hair colours, if that's you, you might need to work a little bit harder in getting that shine, because all your hair's trying to do is just absorb that light, and so it won't reflect the light as much. So that's another thing to bear in mind. And that's it. And that's my 5 major points. And is there any questions, Wani?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm having a day right now. Okay. Sorry, I just realized that we're streaming in the Facebook group instead of on the page, but it's fine. I'll share it later. But yes, okay. People are with us and they're loving it. So I'm going to say, I'm going to say hi to everyone and give everyone a few minutes to ask their questions. So, hi, Amy. Thank you for coming. Hi, Auntie Oja. Hi, Carol. Carol joined us first time. Hi, Rosie, new viewer. Hi, Natasha. She's been a regular. Hi, Julia. Hi, Ndidi. And I'm sure Anna was here as well. I think I saw everyone's comments. Okay. First of all, thank you for tying in all the other lives we've had with Jane's comments and Nicolette's, because it really helps to kind of create that one picture and, create that one image that everyone, so that's awesome. Thank you so much. Ndidi's asking, well, first, Natasha says she loves the tip about the baby hairs because she has baby hairs. Yeah, I know, thank you, because flyaways are the bane of my existence. I mean, we do edit it out, but honestly, like when you have a million, you're like, so, that quick tip with the hairspray, I'm always like with the hairspray. Ndidi asks, what is your opinion on having a top bun in a headshot? Hi, Anna. Having a top bun on your headshot. Yeah, because you said don't do the low one, but what do you think about a high one?
I suppose it depends on what on your audience for the headshot. Okay. So it's a sort of said professional audience. What I would definitely make sure though is that she back combs her hair beforehand, because what can happen is if you then, I'm hoping this, if you straight away do your hair in a ponytail, so I've got quite thick hair anyway, so I automatically look like I've got a little bit of root lift. But if you pull it straight back, you're then at risk of it looking really severe in a shot. And so and you're literally then stuck with something sort of stuck on your head. So what I would suggest is, yes, do that. And if it's a more of a creative, I'm really generalizing here, but it's more of a creative role, and absolutely, you know, make it as messy as you like, but then always just pull, if you pull the roots a little bit here and pull the hair forward, you'll then automatically create a little bit more volume, so it then frames your face more, rather than, say, the difference between that and that in a picture is just sort of, is massive. That would just make sure it's symmetrical and balanced, or, you know, say, because that, and certainly for me, I like my hair up, and you know, for some of us, it sort of it pulls everything in as well. So yeah, great. But just make sure once you've pulled everything in, then just release a little bit of the hair at the top, so it's a little bit softer to frame the face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, actually, I also like the comment you made about it really does depend on your job, because if you're, like, we use the example of accountants, you can have a corporate accountant who's a little more, maybe a little more formal if they're in a big corporate, so they would have their hair back, you know, they might be wearing a blazer, but you also have formal and informal accountants who maybe cater to small businesses, to creatives, and so they might have just have their hair down in a nice bob or something, so it really does depend on what you do. Hi, Anna, sorry. We're having technical difficulties today, but thank you for joining us. Anna's been with us every week as well, I think, every day rather. Okay. So I don't know if you know about this. So in terms of, I might answer this for, so NDD has, like, do you know anything about locks or twists? No, have I lost you?
A little bit.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I'm
Sorry.
here. You just,
sorry, you were stuck. You know, you were frozen, so you looked like you were just like, your picture was actually frozen. She says she definitely puts in a bun or lets it hang out normally behind the ears. So I'll answer for myself. So my hair, I just started locking my hair and twisting my hair. So for a headshot, what I'd normally do is have in some kind of updo where it would be pulled back into like some kind of braided updo. So it's nice and neat, because the important thing about locks and twists is it being neat in a picture as well, so it doesn't look messy. You could, and if it's neat as well, it would have to be relocked from the roots, so it looks good at the roots, and then you could also have it hanging down styled again, you know, like the same you would do with the other type of hair, is you would use those hairspray or gel just to make it so it's nice and neat, and all the baby hairs are like laying down quite nicely. So that would be what I would do. But Hannah?
I think exactly the same. And I just think with twists, but also even with curly hair, whatever the range in general, I always talk to my clients about, you know, my hair. Say my hair is nowhere near that curly, but it is curly for my hair type. And I get to a point, if my hair's grown out, that we talk about, it's got an A line, so my hair literally grows out like this. And then that's when I've got lots of clients like that, and you get to a point, it's like, right, we're A-line again, we need, and actually what we're aiming for is apple. So and I think this the same, however curly it is, I think that's sort of like if photographs, when even if it's sort of long down here, what you don't want is it wider here and curly, and then, because what happens is you end up like this at the top.
No,
and so whatever curls or twists, I'd say that just that it still appears tidy, so you haven't got just one long end. See, I think, Wani, yours looks lovely, and you would, yeah, I think it looks really lovely, and I wouldn't see any reason why you wouldn't have that in a headshot. And it's just be a case of just making sure that you are sort of balanced and symmetrical, and you haven't got sort of ends. No different if you were, you know, going somewhere, you know, to a formal party or something. It's exactly the same, just quick check in the mirror like you would do normally. That would be my suggestion. Yeah, whatever the person feels most comfortable with, but also what they normally appear like.
That's important.
Because they need to be, because it's my feeling on a headshot, and having previously, I know we've talked about this, Wani, but previously working in an HR background prior to hairdressing, it's the photograph is about trust, and because you need to have that trust with somebody professionally, you know, certainly professionally, to look at that person as well, because, you know, I don't know how many seconds it is, but you shouldn't, but some people make an opinion of somebody. But yeah, exactly. And it's just like that. And if it means that the first time that person's seen you is in an image, it sort of needs to come across. So if it looks like you and you're authentic to who you are, and that's what Jane was talking about on Monday, that's absolutely where I sort of see my fit. That's the reason I don't have hair extensions, because that is, you know, completely against what my ethos is as a business. And you know, so I can for that kind of thing. So I think that's really helpful. So it's about trust and someone wanting to work with you.
Yeah, and that's why I loved your tip about like framing the face as well. So no matter what kind of hair you want, you do want that balance. And again, it's all about bringing the attention to your eyes. So whatever hair you're doing, like the only person who can get away with the fringe that covers is Sia, and that's her brand, right?
Exactly.
So really, so even if you had a part, or had your hair framed, you would always be moving towards the side of your face that was more open, so people could connect with you. Amy says she's a yoga teacher and also works clinically as an osteopath. So should she have her hair up or down?
See, I'd have it up, because I would. She may not have it up for yoga, but I would, as a consumer, I would think that she'd probably have it up for yoga as well, but perhaps softer. So so either half up, half down, perhaps. So it's secured off the face. What I would be looking for, I suppose, and certainly I think as a consumer, but also looking at it from a head, like critically, would be that for her clinical role, that would secure it. She might need it all up for her clinical role, but as a consumer, I'd be looking, well, if she needs to lean forward, all that hair isn't in my face.
That is true. That is true.
No different to when I used to my business models changed slightly, but when I used to have apprentices, the hairstylist, I would be allowed as a hairstylist, and obviously I owned the business, but my stylist employees would be able to have their hair down because that was part of the look. However, the apprentices needed to have at least this part of their hair tied up, because they would be shampooing clients, and so their body posture would be slightly different over the sink basin.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it could be softer and up. Again, you can still then create some root volume, frame the face, and then that would perhaps work for both. So she doesn't want to look too severe for her yoga business. So yes, that would probably be my suggestion for that.
Okay. That makes sense. And also, I think to add to that, I was like, I think that for most of us, more than one image will work. So you can think of the pictures you would put on LinkedIn, and we'll talk about more about this tomorrow, but the pictures you'd use on LinkedIn might be slightly different to what you would use on your website, because it depends on who you're trying to attract and when. So you could have a more formal headshot, that shows who you are. I'm a business person, you can trust me. And on your website, when you start going to the personal branding and shows you doing what you do, then you're a little more relaxed. So definitely when you're taking your pictures, whether professionally or not, just kind of think about the different places you'll be using them, and then you can kind of slightly adjust your image to match what you're trying to do.
Yeah, brilliant.
Julia says, great tips. And Didi says her hair grows as a V. I don't even know how that works, but yeah. And also thank you for the great tips. So you know how sometimes some people change their hair and then they decide they hate it? So, and I'm like, please don't make any big changes before your photo shoot, because I can't do anything if you hate your hair or your makeup. So how long would you say, if someone was like, just want to chop it all off, or is going for a drastic head cut or drastic hair color, how long would you say to give it before a photo shoot? Like how much time to adjust in case they need to change anything,
Well, what I'd say, the advice I give to when I do also bridal hair, as well as everyday hair, and the advice I give to my brides is 8 weeks before the wedding.
Okay.
So 8 weeks, unless they have quite short hair and need regular changes, they have their hair cut, 6 to 8 weeks, their last haircut pre-wedding, 6 to 8 weeks before the wedding.
Yeah.
And obviously fringes, they need changing in between times. But if someone was going to go, for some people, a drastic change, like myself included, was to have a fringe cut a couple of years ago. And for that, in 4 weeks, that will go from a full fringe to the side, like mine is now. So things like that, a month or two at the most. If they were going from my length to a bob, your hair grows typically a couple of centimeters, a centimeter and a half a month. So try and gauge that. In terms of hair color, so obviously I'm a colorist as well. Now, unless you're going from white blonde to as dark as mine, most colors in between are manageable or can be changed within 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
Most colors. So if I wanted to go a darker brown, it looks quite dark in this light anyway, but a darker brown or more like a violet, that's which I've done every so often. Wella brings out another colour and we try a different colour. Yeah, more of a violety tone, then that's literally, that could be just that's one appointment. If I wanted to be more of a you know, a chestnutty brown, or have some highlights put in, then that might be 1 or 2 appointments. So I'd say 6 to 8 weeks is a good benchmark, unless they've had their hair all cut off and want it long again. But things like if they're having a professional shoot, and obviously we were open in normal circumstances, I use clip-in extensions, you know, for bridal hair as well. But if someone wanted that, and to bridge the gap, well, actually long term I'm going to have long hair again, we could then, you know, do clip-in temporary extensions to create the look. And so people are able to buy them as well. So that's sort of another way of bridging that gap if it was a real disaster and they were spending a lot of money, you know, prepping for their shoot as well.
Okay, well, that makes sense. And so just in terms of like for people who obviously leaving the house for now, what is kind of like their go-to must-have tools to have? Like hopefully most people have, I feel like a straightener, I don't know. That's what I've tried. That's what I tried to think of, rather than showing you all the products from my salon that I would use on a shoot. Definitely a good hairspray. And some kind of smoothing product. So that might be if someone regularly uses an oil. So I used to have oil on my ends. I'd probably use that all over, knowing that I'll probably have to wash my hair tomorrow as well. But actually, it was super shiny. And like a really good some kind of like a back combing brush, but you can use just like a round brush, but on the top of your hair to smooth it. So hairspray on your brush. Oh, okay.
So if you were to spray, you know, I'm sprayed that on my round brush, because most people would have a round brush or a paddle brush. And if you were to brush that on the outside, you can see that shine.
Okay.
And it's immediately sort of had a mirrored effect. So that's another good tip to use for just stuff that you most people have or can get access to. So if anyone needs any professional products, I can provide them at the minute. But you know, these some things that people would mostly have in their homes anyway.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Well, we're going to wrap up. So if you just let people know where they can find you. And
so I am on Facebook and Instagram. My handle is @HairHK. I have a website, which is also an online shop, and I'm doing contactless deliveries at the moment, once a week. So my website is hkhair.co.uk. Normal circumstances, I have a boutique hair salon based in Milton Keynes, but I'm available online. I'm doing weekly tutorials that are advertised through my Facebook page to help you cope with your hair while you're at home without making huge drastic changes that your hairdresser can't solve when we are out of lockdown. So yeah, please, I welcome any messages. Anyone's got any queries about anything, just DM me. That's not a problem.
Awesome. Perfect. All right. Thanks so much, Hannah. And
no problem. Thank you so much, Wani. It's great.
Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us. And thank you for being patient with technical difficulties. And so that's the end of the styling expert tip. So tomorrow we're talking to a recruiter, and we're talking about what your image online should look like and what recruiters look at, especially on LinkedIn. So join us then. Good night, everyone. Bye.